Before this podcast starts, if you would like to join the GSA Google Classroom, the code is ILWXWTF. Once again, that's ILWXWTF. Enjoy the podcast. Welcome to Capsized, a Silver Lake podcast talking about weekly school-wide updates, hosted by Cass and my special guest.
The Capsized podcast is looking for young, aspiring scriptwriters for a secret project. For more info, email Carrie Mathias at SLRHS.org or Luca Romano at SLRHS.org.
Ms. Dennis, hi. I'm really excited to be here. I'm
Hello.
waving like this is video, but it's not.
You're waving at me like, hi. Hi. So in today's episode, we're going to be talking about GSA and what it's about, my experience being a part of that, going over some stuff that, like, I myself, but also Miss Mathias and Miss Dennis want to work more towards to make, the school a more comfortable place for people that aren't really out yet, I guess. Because I know that there's a lot of those people that are in certain social groups that don't feel comfortable coming out yet.
People who need our support.
Yeah, we can support you from the sidelines even without you coming out.
Exactly.
So, and that's what we're here to talk about. So, Miss Dennis, would you like to fill us in on GSA and what it's all about?
I would love to. GSA this year, like everything else, has looked very different. We've had some difficulty finding a common time to meet because of the after-school bus or lack thereof situation and the hybrid scheduling. So we've done a lot with our Google Classroom page. Anyone is free to join it. If you know a GSA member, you can ask them for the code. You can ask me for the code, and I would gladly love for you to join it. I post things that I see in the media, positive trends, articles, issues about people coming out, about people finding themselves and being proud of themselves, people who are allies and supporters. So it's a really positive page, I hope. In a normal year, which this is anything but, we meet weekly, drop in when you can sort of meetings. Every year we participate in the April Day of Silence, where people either vow to take a vow of silence for 24 hours, or they are a speaking supporter if they are unable to be silent for that long. And that raises awareness to people whose voices may not be heard as loudly in our community, and how much we would miss those voices if they were actually silent. And usually we do various other activities throughout the year, but again, in a non-pandemic year, we're more active.
Yeah.
Right now we're all just trying to get by. But yeah, so GSA is alive and thriving at Silver Lake High School.
Yeah. And I do want to, make it very clear that, say if you wanted to join the Google Classroom, but you don't know, what's the code or anything, you can email Miss Dennis. It's completely confidential. No, Miss Dennis isn't allowed to share emails from other students with anybody, so you could email me, another confidential source. I know what it's like being in the closet, so I take that very seriously. And I'm actually working on a poster for Miss Dennis for the GSA. I have it saved on my computer, so I'm working on that tonight, but I'm hoping to put the classroom code on it just so people can.
That'd be fantastic.
Just like a big bubble with the classroom code being join if you can, blah, blah, blah. And it's not like you're going to be kicked out if you don't go to every single meeting.
Oh gosh, no.
No.
It's casual.
Yeah. Come when you can, it's not like.
It's a supportive group of people who are there when you need it. You can share as much or as little as you want, and sometimes it just really helps to hear other people's stories so that you realize, okay, I'm not alone with this, and I'll figure it out in my own time. We also have allies who aren't necessarily part of the LGBTQ community, but they are supporters, and it's nice to know that those people are out there as well. Sometimes we'll have guest speakers come in, and they could be teachers who are allies. They could be people from PFLAG on the South Shore who come in and let us know what they're all about. But it's really an inclusive and welcoming space for anyone who wants to be supported or to be a supporter.
Yeah. And I think that's really a good thing to have, especially now. because during the pandemic, I feel like there are a lot of people that haven't really been able to. I know I have some friends who just have put off coming out because they're stuck in their homes and they're not really the best.
It's really hard to make
hard.
choices if you feel like you can't escape them for a little bit.
If there's no out, it
tough.
can be really hard.
Yep.
Because you don't know what people are going to say.
And an important thing about the Google Classroom, I have it set up so it does not send the weekly updates home. So the people at home aren't getting notifications that you are part of the GSA. So if it's something that you are kind of testing the waters or you don't necessarily want people at home in your business, it's set up that way so that you can choose what information to share with whoever you want to share it in your own time.
Mm-hmm. Another great thing to have. I know Miss Matthias is doing something with books. She's doing, on the school website, there is a link that you can go to that recommends, LGBTQ books if you are interested in reading them. Because I know that a lot of people, maybe if they're not sure or they aren't comfortable with coming out yet, books can be a really good comfort spot. I know they were for me. I used to read a lot of books. I just recently picked up a book called They Both Die at the End. And it's about these two guys, and obviously they both die at the end, but it's
crushing.
But it's an LGBTQ based book, and I think it's really good so far. So, and Miss Matthias actually has it in the library, and I think it is checked out right now. So
she is working on curating a collection, so you can access the collection on the school website, but you also can access the collection in person in the library as well, of books that, kind of how-to books and like how to come out, a little nonfiction, but also some fiction too, where the characters happen to be LGBTQ, where representation matters. Not every LGBTQ story needs to be a coming out story. Some of them can just be stories, like any other story. There's superhero stories, there's just all different kinds of genres where the characters happen to be representative of a diverse group. And I think that's a really positive move, just to see representation in literature is huge for a lot of people. It helps you feel supported. So I think it's really fantastic that Mrs. Matthias is working towards curating a collection like that. So if you have any books that you've read that you think the library should have that might help other kids, absolutely send Mrs. Matthias an email. She is game to increase the collection in a positive direction that students want.
And I think it's also good that Miss Matthias has the in-person collection. That way, like, if kids are worried about their search history on their computers or something, because I know my parents usually check my history or they'll check my phone. If that's a concern, having the in-person collection is an even better idea. Go off to Miss Matthias and on the side and be like, hey, I was just wondering, maybe do you have some books that I could look at? Miss Matthias is amazing.
Rock star.
Absolutely. I can't express how awesome Miss Matthias is. Like, I've known her since, was it last year that she came to the school or freshman year?
I don't remember now. It seems like forever in a good way.
Yes, exactly. I've known her for a long time. One of my favorite librarians I've ever had in my entire life. I'd trust her with anything. She's an amazing teacher. And
heck, if you are out and proud, be out and proud and be that light for someone else. Carry the book around. Tell everybody you're part of the GSA. And if you are someone that feels good about that, that's fantastic. And maybe you can help lift others up. I love that concept too.
I think that a lot of people don't realize that even when you are out, there could be someone watching you and leading by your example and learning from you. And I know that I was an example for someone, and I inspired someone to come out, and I thought that was really it was really touching to me.
It's a powerful full circle moment.
It is, because I didn't realize that my being confident and comfortable in my sexuality and my who I am as a person, I didn't know that would inspire someone else to.
Absolutely, and you've probably inspired people that you don't even realize.
I probably have, and that's the thing.
Probably inspired people who aren't part of the LGBTQ community to be themselves in whatever way they needed to be. Like, oh, I'm not going to play this sport anymore. I want to do this instead. It could be in small ways, it could be in big ways, but inspiring confidence is huge. And in order to be a confidence inspirer, you have to have been inspired to have confidence. So it's just that beautiful full circle moment when you can become a leader for someone else. And that's what I'm always hopeful for with GSA, is that students can see that it's okay to be whoever you are, wherever you are in your journey, and that there are people who are absolutely fine with that and will help you along the way.
I know that a lot of people are kind of concerned. I feel like a big concern is like you hadn't realized it soon enough, or that like you hadn't like come out like, oh, Susie came out in 7th grade and I'm coming out in 11th grade.
Oh
like,
my gosh, it's not a competition.
It's not a competition. It's not a race. It's your journey.
path.
It's your thing. It doesn't matter how late you realized it or anything. There's no late. As long as you...
Only you know how to be you.
Exactly.
You're the only you in the universe, and you're doing it right.
Exactly. And I feel like a lot of people have that trouble where they're like, oh, there's a lot of people that ask me, they're like, oh, didn't you know as a kid? And I was like, I didn't know what gay was when I was a kid. My parents never taught me about that stuff. I don't... Like, it's going to take you a while if you weren't taught that as a kid, that, like, figuring out who you are and why you like certain things and, you know, why you feel a certain way.
There's usually a moment somewhere along the line
yeah,
when it starts to click,
when
and then the pieces fall into place kind of backwards.
Exactly.
It's like the domino starts falling at both ends.
You realize it, like,
oh,
you're like, oh, that's why I was like that, you know, like, oh, that's why I wore khaki shorts, you know, like, I used
oh, how did you not see that?
I know, it didn't even seem like a big deal to me. I was like, oh yeah, I wear khaki shorts when all the other girls were wearing like frilly shorts.
And some people just wear khaki shorts.
And some people were
sometimes
just
shorts,
exactly
shorts.
Exactly, which is why I didn't realize it. I thought I was just a tomboy. I was like, yeah, I'm rocking the tomboy look, you know. I got khaki shorts, a Minecraft t-shirt, and I'm going to Minecraft club.
You were putting the boy in tomboy.
Exactly. Little did I know. I switched it up, and I was like, actually, I'm not a tomboy. I'm just a boy. So, and I think that's. I think a lot of people, like, I've had people ask me in the past. They were like, oh, you know, you show signs when you're a kid or whatever, and it always bothers me when they say that, because it's not always. Everybody's different.
Everyone's journey is different.
Everybody is different. Okay, not everybody goes through the same thing. Right. I didn't go through the same thing that some of my trans friends went through. They didn't go through the same thing that I went through.
Because you're unique, amazing, wonderful individuals.
Exactly, and I think that's really hard sometimes to grasp, like the fact that maybe your version of coming out is going to be different from another person's. Absolutely. And maybe it won't be picture perfect. Mine wasn't.
Absolutely. And
it doesn't,
maybe it will, and you won't know until you go through it. But you don't have to go through it alone. And it doesn't have to be. That's the biggest thing. You don't have to be alone going through any of this.
Exactly.
That there are people in this school and people in your life who will support you and will help you and be there for you. It may not always be the people you assume. Mm-hmm. It may be different people. Just kind of be open to that, but know that there is a group, and there are teachers like myself, Dennis at SLRHS.org, who are here to help and here to listen. So just, know and understand that you're not going through it alone, and we're here to help.
And not everything is picture perfect.
No.
Not everything goes the way that you're going to plan it out to go. And honestly, in the end, like, it's going to help you realize, like, the people that are actually there for you and care for you and want to be there for you and support you and everything. And it helps you take into consideration the fact that you are cared about by people that maybe you didn't realize, and it just makes you feel all the more loved.
Yes.
Because you didn't realize those people were there to care about you.
I tell everybody, not everyone's going to like what you do. That's unrealistic. Not everyone's going to support what you do. Not everyone's going to agree with you. Those are unrealistic goals. Mm-hmm. But you should always, hopefully, feel safe and feel a level of support. And if you don't, please reach out so that you do get the tools you need to feel safe and feel supported. I think that's the biggest thing. Not everyone is going to like what you do. Not everyone is going to agree with you, and that's okay. I mean, not everybody likes the color of my hair or the clothes I wear. That's okay. I'm still doing it anyway because this is what I like. So not everyone is going to agree with or understand what you do, and that's okay. That's their journey to figure out, but hopefully you'll find a space where you can feel supported and feel safe and just keep reaching out to the right people until you do.
Mm-hmm. And I think that is a really good thing to, realize. Mm-hmm. It took me a while to realize that, but you're not going to be able to please everybody.
Exactly.
And I think the most important thing is trying to please yourself, because you're stuck with you forever. Yep. So You're not going to be stuck with Marty from 9th grade
Right.
for the rest of your life. Like, he's not going to be clinging on to
Poor
you like
Marty.
a leech.
We're just discounting him. Sorry if you're out there and you actually exist, Marty. You matter too. But yeah, I think that's right. Only you know how to live your life. You're the best you that you can be. You're doing it for yourself and to make yourself happy, and that matters.
I think that a lot of things, no, even if they don't turn out the way you expect them to, or maybe someone else, you know, supports you and the person you thought you would didn't, you're in a good environment at Silver Lake. I know that a lot of schools are less fortunate. They don't have a GSA, but I think that it's really important that this school does, especially being from 3 towns. I mean, we got a lot of kids here.
Yeah.
So I think that being there to support students and staff, I mean, staff, hello.
Yeah, exactly.
I talk about the students all the time, but you never know
But
if
the
there's
staff needs to feel supported if they
Exactly.
are someone who isn't of the norm. Like if they're someone who feels marginalized, that they can feel supported as well. And I think that's huge. I think we do overall have a staff that supports each other and a staff that supports the students and their own individuality and their own uniqueness. I think that some years we have a lot of kids in the GSA, some years there's just a dedicated few. But I think just having it and having it out there and having posters that say GSA and putting it out there that
Like
this
making it
is
available.
a group and it exists and it's here for you if you need it. But even having the rest of the students know we support all of our students, every single one of them. I think that matters.
I'm going to get those posters up probably
I
next
love
week.
it. It was fantastic talking to you.
I know, it was great talking to you too. I wanted to do this because I want people that are listening and like, even if there's not a lot of students listening,
There's a ton of students listening. This is the #1 podcast at Silver Lake.
we're the
Seriously.
only podcast at Silver Lake.
Shush. Celebrate. This is the #1 podcast in Silver Lake. Big deal. You're a big deal.
Well,
That's the only reason I'm here is because you're a big deal.
oh, wow. You wouldn't have came if I wasn't a big deal?
Well, I would come because you asked me, but
Aw.
also because it's a big deal.
Yes. No, I wanted to be able to, you know, let people know that me being part of this, like, I sympathize with you and I understand that it can be hard sometimes, and actually hard all the time. It's hard all the time. But I wanted people to know that there is an option available for them if they ever need it. Like,
And that while it was maybe difficult for you, you now have the confidence to be a voice,
Exactly.
and literally a voice, and a light for other people. That's fantastic. Bravo to
I
you.
don't want people to feel like they're sort of stuck where they are or trapped in like a toxic home or something. I want people to, if you need me, you can talk to me. You can talk to Miss Dennis. You can talk to Miss Matthias.
We're
The
a
option's always
supportive
here.
group at Silver Lake, and we support you wherever you are in your journey.
Exactly. So, thank you so much for coming, Miss Dennis.
Thank you for having me. This was lovely.
Of course. And actually, wait.
Oh, wait.
There is one
wait, there's
question.
more.
There's one question,
Uh-oh.
real quick, that we have to ask before you go. Have you been on the podcast before? Before this?
Not.
Oh, okay, perfect.
First time.
Amazing. So, if you could have any superpower in the entire world, what would it be?
Control time.
Why?
More time from now. I haven't thought about that at all. Constantly. I've thought about it constantly.
Well, I'm glad that you're so honest. Thank you so much, Miss Dennis. We'll see you on the flip side.